Oh, look, we got another letter.
Is it another tavern wench? Ferric, honestly, I'm very supportive. I want you to express yourself or whatever, but, at some point.
You're gonna make me blush. No, it's not another tavern wench. Why do you use the word wench?
Oh, is it not the right word?
That's correct.
It's the absolute correct word.
It's harsh for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you have a bad in my mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tavern friend.
Tavern friend.
That
got off the rails real quick.
Well, if it's not a tavern wench or a tavern friend, who is it, Ferric?
There's nothing wrong with a tavern friend.
Not at all.
Have complete respect for your autonomy. Thank you for supporting the show. If you have interest in Ferric, I am supportive. Let you live your best life, but also...
Adalia, you don't look too happy.
Can we find out who it's from?
I've had so much mead. You know...
Ferric, who's the letter from?
It's literally 11 o'clock in the morning.
Who's the letter from? Jeez. The letter is from Light Chaos 71.
Oh, welcome.
Who says, cheers, beers, thank your rears.
So this one did mention your butt.
It did mention my butt this time.
This is like the 5th one. What's up with this?
I don't know.
Light Chaos 71 has good taste.
Let's hope they don't get a good taste.
Thank you, Light Chaos 71. Sorry for this chaos.
Welcome to Power Word Fail, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play podcast. I'm your Dungeon Master Cody, but enough about me. Let's get to the real stars of the podcast, starting with Andy.
Pickles, the sad and alone.
Nathan.
Miraz the miserable.
Katie.
Adalia Rowan, bearer of the hero's light.
Austin.
Ferric, the kissed.
Ian.
Ambrose Bussant, bachelor of Mournstead.
And our newest cast member, Allie.
Navara, champion of Satari.
And again, I'm your Dungeon Master Cody, and this is episode 35 of Power Word Fail. Let's get it on. Last time on Power Word Fail, after the funeral, the Failures headed for Ambrose's family home. Along the way, they shared the news of Miraz's deal with the prince, and tried to smooth over some inter-party conflicts. When they arrived back at the somewhat vandalized estate, most of the party took a short nap, while Adalia went out to commission 2 pairs of gloves and massively misunderstood the intentions of a leather merchant. By the time she returned, Ambrose had attempted to order Fantasy DoorDash and had accidentally invited all the Jeweled Quarter to a party. Once the party commenced, Pickles excused herself. Miraz got a little deeper in his cups than he intended, and Ambrose flexed his Mambrose skills to flirt with the attendees. Adalia coaxed Ferric away from the political conversations, and for the most part, the Failures carved out a path that didn't involve Mournstead politics. Then Ambrose's former rival, Sir Von Cartwright, demanded access to the Ivory Guard assets his father held, and Ambrose gave him selective guidance. The following morning, the Failures were summoned to the Golden Council, where they met Allie's character, Navara, and that's where we pick back up. Shh, let her finish, the small gnome says to you. He has slicked back black hair and a small goatee. He's even short for a gnome. He's wearing a long robe. It's very well embroidered and decorated with little jewels and such, and golden filigree. There are 3 other robed figures standing to his side. As they wait for Navara to finish her ritual, you see in front of her the drape that was sitting on the throne. It is stained in a black rot that is all that remains of the queen. On top of it are several diamonds worth hundreds, thousands of gold, several of the queen's possessions, all laid around in a ceremonial pattern. Navara has a double-sided scimitar. Is there any particular way you'd like this to go, Allie?
Navara sits, hands tentatively touching the cloth. muttering words that feel like poetry in Elven. If you're fluent in Elven, you would know that she's praying to her goddess Satari, and she spends several moments repeating and chanting word for word. The diamonds and the cloth and everything that belonged to the queen slowly rises up, and you see the material components of the diamonds disappear. Exhausted, she gets to her feet and she looks over at the gnome and says, "It's done."
The gnome looks up at the rest of you and starts clapping excitedly. Oh, well, I know a job well done when I see it. That was impressive. What do you guys think?
How do
What's
How do we
impressive?
know
What
that
exactly just
worked?
happened?
Whatever it was.
Oh, sorry. I thought you guys would know. Being the heroes of Mournstead and all, I figured you'd be more educated than this. But no, that was a ritual to repair the soul of the queen. Her soul was shattered when she was destroyed by Zeus. How unfortunate.
How do you know her soul was shattered?
Oh, well, but when we were doing her last rites, our priests could tell.
And how do you know that it's now restored? Is that what you're implying?
Well, I mean, it consumed the diamonds.
I can feel it.
Are you a repair of souls, then?
I wouldn't go that far. This is my first time.
Yeah, we were gonna send for a professional, but what are you gonna do when one of them walks through your city? You just grab the nearest one.
Miraz will glance at Ambrose.
I don't look at Miraz at all. I have never paid attention to Miraz since I walked into this building. Navara, is that correct?
It is.
Are you free at any point? I would like to discuss more about this soul mending.
I can make myself available, but food first.
Right.
Oh, yeah, food, of course. We have some food awaiting us in the chambers where we'll be doing our meetings. Sort of a brunch, if you will.
Can Ferric make a insight or an arcana check to see, like, if Navara is lying about this?
Yeah, you guys can roll arcana check, maybe a religion check.
I believe her.
Miraz is certainly suspicious as well.
I wouldn't know shit about this.
Insight would also work.
That's a nat 20, baby.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I mean, your culture is very closely tied to death, right? I mean, it's not that you've never heard of this, you've just never seen it done because, as far as you were aware, it was a lost art that only, like, godlike beings could do. That there was a time when it was more common.
Ferric looks at Navara, just eyes wide, very shocked.
Yeah, quite a coincidence. I mean, we were gonna send for her mother. She's the real professional. But I was told by my contacts that a new soul binder had been found, and she was in Mournstead of all places, right when we needed her most. What a coincidence!
Yes, indeed.
That's great.
Anyways, I'm hungry. And so he claps, stands up really quickly. He leads you from the massive throne room with all the banners of Mournstead hanging to a narrow hallway in the back. The guards let you pass. He leads you to some large wooden doors. He makes an attempt to open them, and then one of the robed figures grunts and opens it for him. They all lead you in. There's a long wooden table covered with various foodstuffs. Pretty much anything you'd want. It's kind of a light brunch, but you know, there's plenty.
I'll take the cinnamon roll if there's one.
Nice. Yeah, there's cinnamon roll.
I'll take that.
Cinnamon rolls, muffins, fruit.
This is very important. Are there mimosas?
Pickles pushes her way through and takes the head table chair. Just plops herself down right at the head of the table.
The shorter gnome, he kind of walks up to you and says, you might not know this, but I'm Kelvin Morningthaw. I'm the leader of the Golden Council, and that's my chair.
But I sat here first. Did you call it? Did you call dibs? Is your name on it?
But
I didn't hear him call dibs.
No, but that's where I always sit when I'm here. And I don't get to come here very often, so I'd like to sit in my chair.
Can I sit in that chair, but we move that chair here so you can have your chair?
Roll a persuasion check.
Or we like share it? Now what?
Oh.
Oh, buddy.
Maraz is going to pyrotechnic boost her persuasion. I'm kidding. That's not how that ability works.
Boost it up. Try to attempt to make it not critically fail.
Right.
Oh, was that a firework?
Sorry.
Popping some fucking.
Sorry, fell out of my sleeve.
All right.
Why exactly did you summon us here, Sir Lord Morningthal?
Oh! And he sits down in the chair next to Pickles. Well, you see, we're trying to select the next monarch of Mournstead, and we need your endorsement as the heroes who slayed Zeus. So we invited you to the council meeting to, get your endorsement. Who would you like? We've got some candidates. I got a list.
I'm gonna finesse my way to sit right beside Navarra at this table.
All right. Yeah, you can definitely do that as you guys are filtering in. You can grab her chair as quickly as one of the robed figures seem to be sitting down there. Quickly scoop in.
Who's on your list?
Oh, well, it's a pretty good list. It's all the people that I think are really, capable of the job, frankly.
And who would they be?
I have a few questions.
Absolutely, ask away.
So Navarra is just going to cram a huge thing of bread in her mouth and just talk with it as she's chewing. And she's just, explain to me why Zeus came to the queen and not actually attacked anyone in the town. Was there someone on the inside?
Yeah, I don't know about that. We have an internal investigation undergoing right now.
And so you trust these people that you've never met?
Well, that's kind of why I trust them. I mean, they just kind of showed up out of the blue.
That's terrifying.
We killed Zeus, to be fair.
I died.
She did, in fact, die. Hello, Miss Navarre. My name is Adolia. I fought against Zeus my entire life. Any questions you have, I would be happy to answer them.
I'm just confused about the selection process. It seems like there was an obvious traitor, and before we crown somebody, you would want to know who those traitors are and make sure they don't have any impact on the selection?
I don't disagree, but you should know that Zeus's ability to manipulate and infiltrate is beyond compare. I do believe that if he wanted to, he could have waltzed into the throne room without any help at all.
Precisely. His ability to access the throne room does not rule out there being inside help. I think that Navarra, I believe, was your name. I think that you're right. That's a fair question to ask, but I don't think that that's a foregone conclusion necessarily, given how powerful his magic was.
Understood. So for the person that died, do you trust this guy, Kelvin?
Wait, are you asking them if they trust him?
Yeah, I'm asking Pickles in particular, to the one that died.
Oh, I don't know. He looks pretty cool. Look at his goatee.
Thank you.
And he let me sit in his chair.
How did you do that?
Can I make a other Arcana check? Because me as the player, I know a little bit about teleportation circle, and I don't know if Ferric actually knows about teleportation circle and what would be required to gain access to a location like this.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an Arcana check.
Oh, that's a 7.
With below average roll, I mean, you know that it exists, but you don't really know much about it outside of that people do it somehow. Kelvin would say in his defense, he would say, well, that's the reason why the Golden Council isn't allowed on the premises during the reign of any monarch is so we cannot influence or intrude or traitorize or anything like that. We're a completely neutral party. We stay out of it. This is my first time
Do
hearing.
you just hang out while everything
History check.
happens for 100 years?
What is the point of existing if you don't influence anything?
Do you just have a cool house where...
It's all kinds of things.
Has there been any moment in time where that's just been completely not true in Mournstead history? I wouldn't know on top of my head.
You can go ahead and roll for it.
Okay.
roll a history check.
17.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The Golden Council is kind of one of those groups. They're kind of a redundancy in a way. They don't come up as often as you'd think. Like, if there was a clear line of succession, they wouldn't be involved. But the last major historical thing that you can think of now that you're sitting here thinking about it, that the Golden Council really had anything to do with, was about 30 years ago, after some of the conflicts that had been going on, they had instated Zeus as the ruler of Northwatch.
They put Zeus in Northwatch?
Yeah, that was one of their last major influential decisions.
Oh, okay.
They were the ones who did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you put Zeus in power in Northwatch without any investigations whatsoever?
Yeah, we did do that. That was a crazy thing.
Interesting.
Ferric is halfway through swallowing an entire Cornish game hen and just head snaps and then looks at Adalia and then snaps back to this man.
Well, you gotta understand.
Adalia has kind of set her hands on the table, set down her silverware, and there's like just a little bit of fire, like embers underneath the bevels in her skin as she stares this guy down.
When we first put him in charge, he was a nice guy. He seemed really charming. He kind of came in here, he schmoozed everybody.
Are you just picking people off of vibes? Are you crazy? Just a nice guy and that is your choice for leadership?
I mean, he was pretty powerful too. He had a lot of respect and a lot of money. He was very influential in Northwatch, and he had the people's support.
No.
And you just turned a blind eye for like, how many years?
Well,
30?
It's not our job to interfere with whatever he's doing over there. We just selected him.
Whose job was it?
Whose job was it to suss out that he was doing that?
Yes.
Well, I suppose that would have been an internal thing at Northwatch. They should have handled their own business. I can't believe they let it get so out of hand. Now it's on our doorstep.
Adalia's hands are starting to leave like scorch marks on this tablecloth. An internal matter. That's what you thought it was.
Yeah, the Kingdom of Mournstead has influence over many small regional cities. They are city-states. They're fairly in charge of their own business. We try to stay out of it. We have some laws as a country.
Do you? Do you have morals as a country?
Yeah, it's crazy stuff that I've been hearing about what was going on in there. We had no idea.
Of course.
Insight check. Is he bullshitting me?
Go ahead. You can both roll insight checks if you want.
Okay.
22.
That's a good insight check. That's a real good one. Insight. Nope. Adalia's too mad. That's only 13.
Yeah, Dahlia, you might be putting some like credence into some of this stuff this guy's saying. It's kind of pissing you off, but Ambrose, you clock this. He's just an idiot. He has no. You've lived in Mournstead your whole life. You've dealt with the high class elites who don't give two shits.
Yeah.
He somehow got this job and he's just doing it. This is just what he does. He makes decisions and then moves on to the next decision.
Interesting. I don't say anything. I just leave eye contact. I don't respond to anyone around me to let them know.
All right.
May I ask, who do you propose to put in charge of Northwatch now?
Well, we're gonna have another meeting about that. But we got this guy. He I don't have a whole lot of information about him. All I know is that he used to sell horses. But like in the last week or so, he randomly became very influential. And
What is his name?
He was the first choice.
Half of a cinnamon roll is like
what people?
hanging out of Miraz's mouth.
We took a brief poll, and I just got word back this morning that overwhelming consensus says this guy should be in charge now.
You took a poll of the people in Northwatch.
Yeah, I sent one of my messengers.
And the name of this person?
His name's the Mantor. He's a drow.
Oh, all right.
He sells horses.
Would Adalia know who this person is?
Yeah, he runs a horse shop in Northwatch. He's always been kind of a seedy character, but he's always just been kind of a poor guy who runs a shop. He overcharges for horses quite a bit.
Sure, but like, would I assume he was all right, or do I think of him as like a bad person? Do you want me to roll something for that?
Yeah, you can roll an insight check.
Insight? Okay, let's roll better than I did just a minute ago. 22?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely always clocked him as if he wasn't in Northwatch, he would be some kind of a criminal. But because he's in Northwatch, he always ran a clean show. Like, that's kind of how he got away with it so well, is that, you know, it's almost like a crime running a business in Northwatch.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea why he would be so popular all of a sudden.
Yeah. Can you give me a second, Kelvin? You mind if I study something real quick? Can I have your permission?
Oh, yeah, we could take a quick break. I gotta use the bathroom.
Thank you. I walk up to Kelvin and cast Identify.
On him?
On Kelvin?
Yes, to make sure that he's not under any effects of spells.
I'm not sure that's how that would... Is that how
He's
Identify
not an
works?
object.
Think you have to use Detect Magic.
Oh, and touch a creature. Oh, yeah, all right.
If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting,
I've never read
you
that
learn
part
what
of the spell.
spells, if they're affected.
Oh,
Cool.
I
That's awesome.
have been
I've changed the
playing
lenses
D&D
on my
for
glasses.
so long, and I have
I didn't
had
know that.
no idea
I didn't
that
know
Identify
that
very
it worked that
powerful.
way.
Yeah.
I switched the lenses on my glasses and to see if he's under any effects.
That's awesome. I had
Of a
no
spell.
idea Identify worked that way.
He's like, hey, what are you doing? And he's definitely got some effects on him. His robes give him enhanced charisma. His shoes give him, like, enhanced speed. He's got, like, some magic items and stuff like that. He's got, like, a ring of defense. You can tell that, like, if he wanted to, he could probably, like, buff himself with some spells. He seems to be some sort of a sorcerer or something like that.
Right, but is he under the effects of a spell?
No. He, just some, like, minor buffs.
Okay. I switch my lenses. Just making sure you weren't compromised. And I sit down.
I don't know if I like Demantor. Sounds like a guy that stole from me once.
I have met Demantor and lived in Northwatch all my life. Are you certain there was no tampering in the vote?
No, it was a verbal thing with, like a Billy on the street. Who do you like for the next ruler of Mournstead? Who do you like for the next, ruler of Northwatch? I got a list of, 4 names here for the ruler of, Mournstead.
In terms of Mournstead, I will leave that to my more educated companions, but in terms of Northwatch, there's a man named Thomas who I would trust with my life. Did he come up in the vote at all?
Yeah, but I hadn't really considered him. It was a very small margin. You think I should boost it? Would I have your endorsement?
He would
I'm
have
sorry.
my unconditional endorsement. Yes, Ambrose.
Why are we choosing people from Northwatch for the Kingdom of Mournstead?
We're not. I am talking about Northwatch.
Thomas is in Northwatch?
Yeah, this was for a separate meeting. But I guess we're doing it now.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely. This seems to become a free-for-all. He stuffs a croissant in his mouth.
Navara's just gonna sigh. I'm too tired for this, and she's going to touch the circlet on her head and cast Zone of Truth.
Wow, okay.
Miraz disintegrates.
Yes! I love Zone of Truth. I love it.
Plead the
And
fifth.
she's going to let everyone know, look, this is for all of our own good, and it's only here to make sure that we tell the truth. And as a player, if you want to try and avoid it, it's a charisma save of 15. And Kelvin as
Adalia will fail on purpose.
Pickles fails. That's a 4. Pickles don't know you.
I will try to pass. Fuck! 7.
That's a 14. Ferric also fails.
Miraz succeeds with a 17.
Someone gets silvery barbs on Miraz.
Navarre does know if someone fails, so she'll flat out say, that one, right there, Sparky, is intentionally trying to fail this.
I just clap. Who would have thought?
Do I get a sense from Kelvin?
Kelvin, he lets it go through. You definitely get a sense from the other Golden Council members, but they all fail. But Kelvin's looking around. He's like, yeah, lying in here. Come on, we gotta be truthful. The meeting's pointless.
I like you so much more right now.
Not me. I certainly do not lie ever. That was a lie. I do lie sometimes.
I imagine that this plays out like slowly within Miraz's head, but he will begrudgingly choose to fail as well.
I take back what I said. He's let down his god.
That's surprising. Oh, sorry, Maraz.
Everyone will be able to tell the truth now.
All right. Well, I'll look more into this Thomas guy, and I'll remember that I have your endorsement.
By the way, Navarra, my name's not Sparky, it's Eugene.
It's such a boring name. It's such a boring name. Sorry.
It's
I know it's
a very
such a
nice
boring
name.
It's the worst.
I've actually never met someone named Eugene. I think it's lovely. It's nice to meet you.
That's why.
All right. Well, now that the greetings have been taken care of, how about we commence to the main business?
Of course.
The next monarch of Mournstead! Woo! Now, who's ready to select?
Miraz grabs another cinnamon roll.
So first on the list, we have Dominic Bryce. Very rich, very, very famous here in Mournstead. From the Mournstead Bryces. You know, they're part of the Bankers Guild. They're really, really rich, really wealthy, really influential. It'd be great to have a banker king. And, just think of that. That'd be great for the coffers.
Didn't you say Zeos was rich and powerful and really popular? Like, I feel like you're just using the same descriptors for Bryce.
Yeah, but he's not as powerful.
Has this person ever been in a position of leadership before?
They're a junior manager at the bank.
Oh, how impressive. And
Yeah.
who are...
How old are they?
They are 32 years old. That's not bad. That's pretty young. They are a human.
Ferric leans over to Adalia. Spunk told me never to trust a manager.
Spunk was the wisest of all of us. Very well. And, so you have a relatively young banker with middle management experience.
Yeah.
And wealth. Are those all of his qualifications?
I think that the people in the Jewel Quarter would be quite happy with him. He's one of theirs.
I don't like him.
And the people in the other quarters?
They probably wouldn't like him. He'll probably raise taxes, but that's good for the kingdom.
Raise taxes
We're
against
pretty broke right now.
the other quarters and not the jeweled quarter?
Wait, how's Mournstead broke?
Oh, well, the last queen, right before she passed, God bless her shattered soul, that recently mended. She spent all this money on the Farrington Resurrection Program. She tried to rebuild that whole city from the ground up, and I said, let's just move it. It's a crater. But I can't influence, so, I didn't send that letter. I just wrote it and burned it, like I always do.
All right.
You
a good
gotta get
system.
your thoughts out, or else it's gonna give you cancer.
Who are the other options? I'm not getting a good sense.
Bryce is out.
Yeah.
Bryce sounds like a... Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Let's just move on.
All right.
It's not my
and-
fault.
So no one likes him, huh?
Well, let's hear about the other candidates before we
Nope.
make any sort of decision.
All right. Well, considering we were just attacked, I thought maybe we could get a military man in here. Helmford von Holt, General of the Red and Yellow Knights, the biggest mercenaries in the whole kingdom of Mournstead.
No.
Why not?
Why would you bring him in when we already have the Ivory Guard that's already in some way in shambles?
Yeah, I think they could work together. They're both professionals.
They have never worked
One's
together.
internal,
They're
one's
mercenaries.
external.
The Ivory Guard has been protecting Mournstead since day one. They're just mercenaries. That's it.
To whom do these knights owe their loyalty? Anyone? Or are they sold to the highest bidder?
Well, technically they are mercenaries, so who knows if the general, it's up to the general. But they've had an exclusivity contract with Mournstead for as long as anyone can remember, for hundreds of years. So since before General Von Holt even took command. It's like a tradition. They're kind of like our standing army.
So there's goodwill between them and the city, but that's still not... Who are the other two candidates? Let's keep going.
I will say, Miraz, you do recognize him because your brother serves in the Red and Yellow Knights.
Oh, okay.
Your brother, I think his name's Jacob?
Jacob's my dad.
You've got such a big family, Miraz.
I do. I believe George is the one in the military, but I lose track of them all.
George, that sounds correct. So your brother has always spoken well of him. He's always been a great commander. He rose through the ranks, took command, total badass on the battlefield. But there's never been any super decisive battles in his lifetime. So, he's untested in that way.
And does this candidate have any civilian leadership experience? Has he dealt with economic issues or anything of that sort?
General Von Holt? Nah, not really. Nah, if we want economics, you go with Bryce. If you want military strength, I'm thinking Von Holt's our man. And I'm a little bit nervous about the theocracy lately. There've been a lot of weird stuff going on over there. And we've been people arrested in the streets. Something about the master? That whole thing again? I thought that was like old news. Thought only crazies believed in that.
We saw a man in the streets preaching this gospel.
He was very convincing.
I don't really call it a gospel.
Is it only the two then? Or are there more?
No, I got more. We got Master Nelius Rome. He's a self-made man. He's a noble from here in Mournstead. He rose up from the copper quarter. He started his own business. He made his own wealth. He moved into the gold quarter. He started traveling around. He's something of a diplomat. He's a man of the people.
Well, this sounds promising. If he's risen up in the ranks and knows every aspect of Mournstead life, those who haven't always had power sometimes know how to wield it more mercifully.
I roll my eyes.
Yeah. He's on a trip right now to the theocracy, trying to spread some diplomacy over there, keep those guys in line.
Does he have strong ties there?
When Miraz sees that Ambrose is not having it, he'll just kind of shut down.
Yes, is he strongly tied to the theocracy?
Not that I know of. He's there right now because they've been really acting up lately.
What do you mean by acting up?
We never used to get crazy people in the streets preaching like that before. And there was an encampment of them we found, living in the woods. I don't know. It was kind of strange. We threw them all in jail.
Preaching our religion is hardly a crime, is it?
Well, the master is dangerous. We can't let that kind of stuff go unchecked.
Oh, coming from you?
You'll have to forgive me. I am foreign from these lands, but what do you mean by dangerous? I do not know much about this master.
Long ago, Mournstead used to all be one big country. All the theocracy used to be part of Mournstead. But then this crazy guy named Ordemal came along and started saying that the gods were dead, and there's this only one true god, and his name's the Master, and he started a big old revolt with the people, saying he could give them a better life, and split the kingdom in half. And then, they proceeded to really run things down over there. It's pretty crappy. I kind of thought that it had gone away.
Are you afraid that by persecuting these people, you are creating your own problem? Creating more sedition?
I don't personally know. I think keep them out. They have their own country. They took it from us. They want the more? They want more?
And what do you think of this person personally, not the master, the candidate?
I like Nelius. He's a cool guy. I drank with him a couple times at influential parties. He's a nice guy. He's got some pretty crazy beliefs, I suppose. He's not traditional.
Elaborate.
He doesn't really worship any god.
Good.
He's just like a neutral. He's neutral.
I see.
He says he doesn't ask for anything, so he doesn't have to pray or anything like that, which is absurdity.
It's not that crazy.
But he's done quite well for himself.
I see.
The gods help those who help themselves, as they say.
Do they say that?
Well, I say it.
Adalia kind of reaches up to touch the earring that she uses as her divine symbol. Yes, so they do. And is he the last of your candidates?
No, we've got one more. This guy, I don't even like to bring. He's kind of like you, Thomas. He's just like a lot of people in the outskirts, in the poor cities, in the farms. They really like this guy. His name's Gulbar. He's a dragonborn, which is kind of unique. I think that could be really interesting. But there's a couple of things I really don't like about him. One, what kind of a name is Gulbar? That's a terrible name. We might have to change his name if he becomes king.
A great name. That's an amazing name. So much better than Bryce.
It's a terrible reason not to consider him, regardless. Better than Eugene.
I think it's like not a great name. But hey, what do I know? I've just been in charge of the Golden Council for years and years. What do I know? But yeah, the people like him a lot. The other problem I have is that he is a dragonborn. And while dragonborn have never done anything to draw the ire, the public still has a lot of hatred for him because they're, dragons. Dragon-esque.
I thought you said he was very popular among the public.
The poor people love him, but the elites hate him.
I think that's a great reason to pick him.
I'm with Pickles.
I think that's a bad reason to pick him.
This guy's a total ham sandwich. And then Ferric, covers his mouth, covers their mouth.
Okay.
Listen, we gotta keep the elite happy, or else they're gonna try and change the powers that be or something. I don't know.
Other than Nelius Rome, are all of these candidates in Mournstead currently?
Helmford's on the road. We could send word to him. He could be here fast. They have horses. Especially if he was going to accept the position, he wouldn't be in charge of the knights anymore in that regard, so he'd have to leave the field.
I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you just there. You're telling me that the city was under attack, and he and his guards who have an agreement with Mournstead were not here to protect it? That is not honorable.
It was pretty sudden. I only got word about 12 hours before anything had happened, and I was told that there'd still be like a day.
He should still have been on his way.
Yeah, we did send word to him, but then we sent word that it's solved. So, it's kind of probably getting whiplash.
Well, Kelvin, there's a couple of these candidates that I do think have some potential, but is it really only these four? I mean, are there any women or any other merchants or diplomats that might make reasonable candidates?
I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of citizens in Mournstead. I mean, if I was gonna just select everybody, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of reasonable candidates, but these are the four. These are the top four. We had a queen last time, so I picked these guys. We have a king this time.
So you discounted everybody else because you wanted a king this time?
Kinda. In a way.
Yeah, I'm done here.
All right. Well, Master Kelvin, if you were the one to make the choice unilaterally, who would you choose?
Well, I don't like to do that because I'm in a council, and what's the fun of being in a council if I just make choices all the time? But I like Bryce. I think he's a really good choice. He'd be great for the money.
How much did he pay you to say that?
Oof. He looks over at Navarra, knowing that she put the Zone of Truth, and he says, well, I'm not going to say he didn't lobby for this. He lobbied pretty hard, but that is not a guarantee.
I see. And the rest of the council?
The other council members kind of look at each other and mumble. One of them, he is a large half-orc man. He steps forward and says,
well, I think the only choice is Helmford von Holt. We're going into a very, very precarious time, and I think that we need a military man in the seat. But I could be swayed.
The other two kind of flavor for a moment. One of them steps forward. He is a human. He kind of gestures with his hands at the map that's on the table in between some of the food. He brushes away some of the crumbs, and he points out that the theocracy is just over a river. There's no physical defenses, and that he also supports Von Holt and thinks that having the army in charge of it at the moment would be really important. The third person, he is a elf. He seems very gentle in nature. He steps forward and he says that after, listening to the list, because this is the first time he's heard it as well, he thinks that he agrees with the failures that Gulbar would be a great choice. He is concerned that the nobles will revolt, and maybe we should select Nelius instead as a concession.
I will not be voting until we have a complete list that includes the other half of Mournstead.
What is the timeline to make this decision?
We gotta start moving the ball. I would like to have someone selected by the end of the week. You have 3 days. Some of them would have to make quite a journey, and I would like to get them rolling. Maybe even get a mage on it and have them teleported.
Would it be possible to have all of the candidates here first to meet them before we give our endorsement?
Except Bryce.
I don't like that idea because I was hoping to keep it ambiguous. Only a few people should know who is up for selection. It could be contentious. What if we don't pick Von Holt? And then he gets upset that he's not the king and then he takes his contract elsewhere or something. I don't know. People can be spiteful.
That is actually a good point.
Well, I think that's a good reason for Van Holt to be out.
It is actually a good point. We also shouldn't be held hostage by the possibility of someone removing their support from Mournstead, but that is a reasonable thing to consider, Kelvin.
Is it unreasonable to think of a system of governance where there are multiple positions in equal power?
That's what we have in the floating city. It's harmonious and beautiful.
You're from the floating city?
I am.
Miraz's face just lights up. I've always wanted to go there.
We'll have to go one day, Eugene.
Yeah, me too.
You too, Kelvin.
Ferric looks at Pickles. Get your man.
Get your boy.
Here we go again.
Get your boy.
Oh my god. One of the council members, the half-orc, his name is
Leo
Damaro. Yeah. He would say,
Well, I think our system of governments worked just fine for us.
You picked a tyrant to lead a free city who then killed your monarch.
That could have happened in a democracy.
After slaughtering an entire race of people.
I stand by my words.
I see. Adalia kind of looks around to the rest of the failures. Might we have a day or two before making our decision?
Kelvin's like, I'll give you a day. Try to be quick about it. I don't know what you gotta think about. I already gave you all the info.
Do they all have homes here in Mournstead?
The Golden Council, yeah, they all live here in Mournstead.
No, the candidates.
Oh, the candidates? The only one that lives here in Mournstead is Dominic Bryce. Everyone else technically is away. Nelius Rome has an estate here, but he is often on the road.
I mean, I know some people that get some really good information, so we could go talk to them.
Well, you can do your own soul searching however you want. Just get back to us in 24 hours. We'll have another brunch about it, I guess.
Certainly. Thank you for your time, then, I suppose.
No, yeah, thank you for coming. And thank you very much, Navarra. You can expect your payments due tomorrow. We will have the Bankers Guild deliver it post-haste.
I raise my hand.
Yes, Ambrose.
As you know, there has been great stories of heroes protecting Mournstead being rewarded for their heroic acts. Due to killing Zeos, I think it's more than fair for us to reap some form of payment for our work. And also selecting the next ruler of Mournstead.
Yeah, that's a good point. In the past, we have given you guys something. I don't know if you remember me saying earlier that the kingdom is very broke right now, but I will see about some sort of reward.
I look at Calvin. Calvin, Mournstead's broke, but you're not. And I
Calvin, can I take this chair as my payment?
That is my chair. You cannot have the chair. It's not even my property to give away. It's property of the castle.
Even more reason it should be my reward.
Well, you'll have to ask the monarch then.
Okay, whoever gives me the chair is the king. Got it.
Gulbar might be more likely to give you a chair.
Gulbar it is. Well, now we gotta find him to ask.
I am hearing a lot of support from Gulbar.
Okay, we do need some time, though, to make our decision. Tomorrow at the same time?
Sounds great. See you in 24 hours. And he slams his gavel down, picks up the last muffin, and says, "Come along now, Golden Council. We have business to attend to. Away!"
Calvin, very quickly.
Away.
I understand some things have to wait, but the address I asked for, could you give it to me?
Oh, yeah, of course. Here you go.
And Navarra's going to reach over and take that envelope and open it up, make sure it's a language she knows, and kind of tuck it away. Thank you, Calvin.
You're welcome. I hope that all works out for you. Crazy story. Anyways, have a good day. Away! And then he just scurries out the door, and the other three guys just sigh and follow him.
He's the greatest. Also the worst, but also the greatest.
I don't need a zone of truth to tell me that guy was a complete fool, right?
He's an idiot. Absolute moron.
An honest one, though.
Perhaps we should have this conversation somewhere other than their hall.
They did leave. There is some food on the plates left, but not much. There's 2 guards standing in front of the door. They're kind of waiting for you to be ready to leave. And then they will, they don't need to escort you, but they're just kind of guarding you, I suppose. They're doing their job.
Ferric leans back in their chair. I mean, I'm right? And is talking to the guards.
One of the guards says, "Oh, well, I'm not supposed to make comments about the people in charge, but I do suppose that they do get a lot of taxpayers' money to make a lot of important decisions, that they should have a smarter guy doing it. I mean, I think I could probably do it. I'm a pretty smart guy. My friends and family, they told me I should be on the Golden Council, but we just don't have that kind of influence." The other guard slaps him on the head. He's like, "Quiet. Can't be making those kind of comments against the management."
Oh, you're in front of the Boussants. You're fine.
Well, it's just that most of the people here treat us quite well, but that Kelvin guy, he's kind of an asshole. He quite rude. He doesn't treat the help very well. Let me put it that way.
There is no greater test of a leader than how
Both of you look the other way while I take his chair.
Roll a persuasion check.
That's a 12.
better than average.
The one guard looks and is like, "Come on, it'd be funny. It'd be funny if it was gone, wouldn't it?"
Right.
The other guard, he says, "Oh, I don't know. We're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna be back tomorrow. I don't know.
Fine, I'll take it tomorrow.
Maybe we can arrange something once he leaves the premises, but I don't want to be around when he finds out his chair's gone."
Perhaps tomorrow then. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Could you show us the way out?
Absolutely, it'd be my honor to escort the heroes of Mournstead.
And they lead you out. Back through the large throne room, through the massive hallways, out the front door, into the beautiful courtyard there. And you can see down the hill, you can see the whole city before you. Everything seems pretty relaxed, pretty normal day. It's like a crazy catastrophe didn't just happen yesterday.
Miss Navarra, will you join us for the afternoon? I believe my companions may have some shared interests.
Yes, I understand. I actually have something I need to do. Is anyone familiar with the Jewel Court?
Yes, that's my area. That's where my home resides.
That's where we are.
Could you maybe tell me where to go to get to this place? And she's going to hand the envelope to Ambrose.
I'll take it.
When you open it, you'll see that it's the Abernathy house.
Follow me.
All right. I think that's where we're going to end it for the week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We couldn't do any of this without you, and we really appreciate you tuning in. We'd love to hear from you, so come hang out with us on Discord. Let us know what you think of the Golden Council. Discord.gg/The Homebrew Podcast. We really have a super awesome community growing. Come check it out. All the cast is there. You can shout at Ambrose, tell him he's the coolest.
And the hottest, apparently.
Ambrose is the hottest.
Shout at Miraz and tell him he's the worst.
If you got a couple extra dollars and you want to support the show, go check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/The Homebrew. $2 gets you access to all kinds of bonus materials like PDFs. We have the show about the show, Power Word Chill. We have a beautiful phone wallpaper that Austin drew of Evangeline. It is gorgeous.
Still my phone wallpaper, by the way.
Right? It's really good. As well as monthly ones, so it updates every month. If you'd rather have something more physical, you can go check our sponsor, fanrolldice.com, get you some physical dice. Roll those bad boys. Use promo code Homebrew at checkout for 10% off. Join us next week to find out what happens with the next monarch of Mournstead. And remember, you are loved as much as Pickles loves that chair. You are as important as Kelvin thinks he is. And you matter. You matter as much as the crystals themselves. Thank you for listening.